Hey guys, welcome back to English with Dry. Today we are looking at another aspect of persuasive writing. Specifically in this video, we'll be looking at how to use anecdotes. So the first thing I'd like you to do is to look at two statements again and decide which one you think is more persuasive and why. The first statement, teenagers mostly feel hugely stressed out by deciding what clothes to wear for school if they have no set uniform. And statement two, as a teenager, I would spend hours stressfully agonizing over what I was going to wear on non-uniform days. Just have a little think about which one of those two you think is more persuasive. Now, the purpose of this activity was to get you to the conclusion that statement 2 is more persuasive. Obviously, 1 makes a good point about school uniform, talking it's persuasive in the sense that it makes you think that teenagers get stressed out by having to decide. But what statement 2 does is that it makes you think that I am actually speaking about myself. I'm giving you my own personal experience, a story about my own life. This is what we call an anecdote. Now, again, we're going to be working on the following exam question. You need to write a letter to your MP. In this, you need to show your views about whether or not schools should have a uniform policy. And again, because this is an AQA English Language Paper 2, Section B, it's out of 40 marks. We're going to be focusing, though, on using these anecdotes, because they're including personal stories to help the reader understand how important your argument is to you personally. By including information about yourself, they start to think of you as a real person who is being honest about your opinions on the matter. What this does is it helps create sympathy towards your point of view. Now, sympathy doesn't always have to be feeling sorry for your point of view, because that's not the only emotion you can make somebody feel. But in general, it makes them want to agree with you more. Just one thing, though, they do not always have to be directly about you, in the sense that it doesn't have to be a personal pronoun of I. It could be about somebody who is in your life. However, if it is not, it might not have the same emotional impact. For instance, if you talk about a person you heard about or somebody on the news. Generally, the more personal the anecdote is, the more intimate a connection the reader might feel with you. And because of that, they might be more likely to agree with you. So, what types of emotions should you include? Obviously, we've already had a video where we look at facts and figures, which is much more to do with logic and reason. However, this one is more about being emotive. Being emotive is creating emotion in the reader, and this is a good way to try and make them feel like they know you better. But there are many different ways to make somebody agree with your opinion. I want you to quickly make a list of all the different emotions that you could make a reader feel that will make them identify with you. For example, here we have a statement that uses humor. Unfortunately, on an almost daily basis, I had to desperately try to rescue the horrible multicolored bum bag my mother forced me to wear from the hands of bullies. Try to quickly think of all the other types of emotions that you could make a reader feel. Okay, now once more I've created a nifty acronym for you, and now you don't have to remember this at all, it might just be an easy way of remembering all the different types you can use. What I will say is, this is not all of them by any means. The first one is anger. By creating a sense of rage about how unfairly or badly you or somebody you know has been treated will help them make the reader agree with you about an issue. Secondly, S, shock. Surprising someone about a topic is a great method of gaining their trust, as you seem like you know more about it than they do. Third, we have another A, amused. Make the reader laugh, and by using humor is a very effective way of getting them to like you, and therefore agree with what you were saying. And finally, P, we have pity. Perhaps the best way to get the reader on your side is by making them feel sorry for you. So ASAP is our acronym. Of course, there are other emotions, but these are some of the most popular to use in trying to get a reader's trust. Okay, so firstly, anger. Causing somebody to share feelings on a topic with you is a tried and tested method for getting your argument across. A popular way of doing this is making them feel angry, as this emotion makes people very likely to actually act and do something. If you describe a situation that is unjust, where someone is doing something immoral and wrong, it will encourage the righteous indignation of the reader. They will feel that they want to actually see justice being served. They'll want to right the wrong that has been done. It's a helpful way to endear yourself to the reader and make them feel like they want to fight for your cause. Here's an example. Again, using the topic of school uniform. At school, we were not allowed into the dining hall without having our shirts tucked in and our ties properly done up. This was even though teachers could get away with wearing whatever they wanted. Some even wore t-shirts. How is that fair? Now, you notice what I've done here is I've combined it with a rhetorical question to really even more engage the reader. But in general, this is an unfair statement, and that should be something that makes the reader sit up and go, no, that isn't actually fair. I'm coming around to what you're saying. Now write your own example that makes the reader feel angry on your behalf. Okay, shock. The shock factor is a great method to make the reader wake up and listen to you. By telling them something they did not know, you naturally make them interested as they start to wonder if you are telling the truth. The more unusual the story you tell them, the more interested they will be. Obviously, it has to be believable, however, it can really help get your argument across. For example, in my secondary school, the uniform policy was so strict that if you were a boy, you could not have your hair longer than below your collar. There was even one teacher who would cut your hair for you if he caught you. Now, this is quite a shocking and odd statement to make. Most schools would not have teachers in them who actually physically cut the hair of their students. In fact, I suspect, and now it's probably very illegal to do this. However, this cause of surprise will make the reader feel like this is a bigger problem than it is. It's almost exaggerating the level of effect this has had on you, and thereby makes them worry that perhaps this could happen to them also. Now write your own example that makes the reader feel shocked by what you have said. Okay, moving on. Amused. You do not always need to make the reader feel serious emotions to get them to agree with you, because people respond just as well to being made happy and, most importantly, being made to laugh. Humor can be a very powerful tool as it can diffuse tension and put a reader at their ease, because telling funny stories often sets a better tone, particularly if the topic in question is not a traditionally serious one. If you're talking about something that is outside the realm of death and destruction, actually people might enjoy it more if you have a humorous tone. Often people don't like to engage too much with things that are sad and serious, and so therefore making them laugh might actually make them like you more. Here's my example. The thing is, I would customize my uniform to the point where I felt I was expressing myself. I would wear badges on my blazer, I would wear color in my backpack, and I would wear enormous chunky belts. Did I look good? No. Not even slightly. However, I felt as though I was being me. Now, it's up to you whether you believe this story about me personally. However, what you can see here is I'm making the reader imagine me in a humiliating light, slightly. But what that is supposed to do is to make them laugh, to make them find me a humorous figure, to lighten the mood, and to make them actually feel more at their ease around me as a narrator of what's happening. And that should open them up more to agreeing with my point of view. Okay, write your own example now, which makes the reader feel amused. This one could be fun. Okay, finally, we have pity. Making someone feel sorry for you is usually the best method for gaining their support. Sympathy is a powerful emotion. If you can gain it from your reader, you can effectively manipulate them to your side of the argument. Pity can be gained through describing a situation that caused you emotional or physical pain. If you create a sense that you are a victim of something, people will be more inclined to listen to your story. This is where specific emotive adjectives and adverbs can be used most effectively. If you think about TV adverts that are encouraging you to give money to charity, they often choose images that are very distressing, children who are starving or animals who have been hurt and that kind of thing. Now, the reason that they do this is because it's more likely to get people to give them money because of this thing of sympathy and pity. If something makes you feel bad inside yourself, it's a physical reaction to it. And because of that, it's a very good way to get somebody to actually do what you want them to do. It is a little bit manipulative, as we say, but often that is the strongest way to get somebody on your side. So as an example, to be perfectly honest, I really dreaded those non-uniform days. I've never been cool or stylish, however, those days brought this into sharp focus for everyone else in the school. In short, I felt humiliated, trudging in every day and being mocked by everyone around me. By getting you to imagine me as a lonely, unhappy child who was bullied because of this topic, I'm getting you to feel more sympathy towards me. And because of that, you might just be more likely to change your mind or just agree with me. So lastly, have a go at writing your own example that makes the reader feel sorry for you. Okay, everyone, I hope this video has been helpful. Stay tuned for more masterclasses on persuasive writing. Make sure you like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.